Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over today's MLB main slate for DraftKings. As usual on Fridays, we have a pretty big slate today. I believe it's 14 games, so a lot of things to dissect, but I think we dumbed it down a little bit and made it simple here. So anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. It's just my YouTube name with the 16 on the end. And also my Patreon, we're doing a lot of cool stuff on there. I'm not going to just keep showing it on here, but I listed all the you can just go on a video yesterday if you haven't seen it yet. I got all of my models listed on there. So we have an MLB model, UFC, PGA, NASCAR, and I'm adding. I already did. I added a projection system for NASCAR. We didn't have that earlier. So now in the model we have projections and their value, and then we also have that with the UFC as well. So I worked on that the past couple days and got projections in there. So we have that now. We're gonna have our exposure to each driver and GPPs or fighter or whatever, and we do that for all the sports now, except for MLB because I only do I'm a single entry guy on MLB, but yeah, UFC and PGA and NASCAR, we got the projections, exposure, and I think some example cash lineups. I mean, I don't give out lineups or anything. I'm not like a lineup seller, but I sometimes like to give an example lineup just to see how roster construction should look like. It's not my lineup I'm using, just an example and whatnot. So, and I'm also gonna be writing a NASCAR article for this weekend and some other cool stuff as well. So, just some things to think about. I'll leave the link in the description below if you want to join on Patreon. We already have quite a few, and I really appreciate all of you that have already, and I appreciate all of you on YouTube as well, as we're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers. So that's pretty awesome. It'd be really awesome to hit it this weekend. I don't know if that's a stretch or not, but just hoping for it anyway. So anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. And I will say the UFC video is probably going to drop in within an hour. So, all right, time for the cheat sheet. So SP1 is either going to be Trevor Bauer or Chris Sale, but I am an Indians fan, so I'm going to be biased and list Trevor Bauer first, and you get the 900 savings off of him. But I love Bauer versus Detroit last time, and nothing's changed for me in this matchup. Now we're at home, and he's got elite stuff. I've been saying that all year. It hasn't been working out sometimes, but hopefully that start last time out gave him some big confidence in facing the same lineup. And I know sometimes it's kind of tricky for a pitcher to face the same lineup again, but this Detroit lineup just does not scare me. And obviously they're scared of Bauer, and they can't hit him. And he had a complete game shutout. I believe he had 46 DraftKings points. Now, I'm not expecting a complete game shutout again, but he has that upside. The thing with Trevor Bauer is he's pitching more than any single pitcher in the league. I mean, he's averaging about 118 pitches a game, something like that. So we're getting an extra inning or two out of him than most pitchers would. And so I mean, he's just a workhorse. He goes really deep in the games. 8 innings doesn't surprise me any time out, and because they don't like pulling him, they leave him in, and it's a fantastic matchup versus Detroit. They strike out a lot versus righties. They can't hit him well at all. So I definitely like Trevor Bauer a lot. And then Chris Sale at 12K. I mean, really, there's not much to say. It's Chris Sale. I mean, he can dominate any single team, and it's a good matchup versus Toronto. And I've been using lefties versus Toronto a lot this year, and you're not going to be able to tell me a better lefty. So Chris Sale's obviously a fantastic play. He's getting expensive, but the way he can dominate a team, it does not matter. He can become a value easily if he hits 40-some points. But it's going to be tricky to choose between Bauer and Sale because I'm very biased towards Bauer. I'm going to try not to let that get in my way. But I do think it's a fantastic matchup, and I love the savings we get there. And he's Trevor Bauer's more prone to going deeper in the game, so definitely don't mind Bauer at all, or I mean Chris Sale at all, or Bauer. And then at SP2, I'm looking at Aaron Nola at 8K. I think some people are going to go to Musgrove at 5,500, which I do think is interesting versus the Padres. But he's just sucked this year, and I just don't want to lose my day on pitching, especially on a big slate like this, because I mean I don't think he's gonna be chalky, like really chalky, especially how big of a slate it is. So I don't want to get blown up at pitcher, so I'm going to go with Aaron Nola. It's a safer option. There's plenty of value out there to get it done. And really, he's just a solid pitcher versus a terrible team for 8K. I've been using all these bad St. Louis pitchers versus them, like Wainwright, Mikolas. So no reason not to like Nola here. I know he hasn't been the best this season, but he's had some better games lately. And yeah, so do like Aaron Nola. And then at catcher, Jason Castro at 3,800. So Junis just has a lot of power from both sides of the plate, but I do like the lefties more here, and I'm interested in the Twins again, as it's no surprise of you guys. Hopefully you're not tired of hearing me going about the Twins every single day, but hey, they're one of the best offenses in baseball. And then Chance Cisco at 3,300. I'm going to assume he's going to be in the lineup versus righty, and Leak will definitely serve up some homers and some power, so wouldn't be surprised if maybe Cisco could take him deep. And then if we're going to be punting the position, which I think we're going to have to be with just because it looks like we're going to be spinning up a pitcher today, so it looks like we're going to have to punt. So Maldonado, Mathis, and even Danny Jansen versus Sale. I know that sounds terrible, but I mean, just we got to punt the position somehow. So although Mathis is like the absolute bare minimum, so as long as he's in the lineup, I do think that's pretty interesting because I do like that game a lot, and the Rangers are projected over 6 runs today. And then at first base, we have Jose Abreu at 4,700. So we got two reverse splits righties facing off in Texas. I'm going to give the advantage to Abreu. It's Arenado, something like that. I don't remember exactly how to say his name. But he's not the best pitcher in the world, and that Texas bullpen's bad too, especially if they bring in Shelby Miller. It's pretty much just free runs for the other team. So definitely like Jose Abreu, and then Brandon Belt 4K. So Clark is just a really bad pitcher, and he has a low K rate. So and it's also a park boost for San Fran. So as ugly as it sounds, I'm kind of interested in stacking the Giants. I mean, it's not like a main lineup stack your Giants, but I do think they're interesting, especially some of them as one-offs. And then Chris Davis at 2,200. So this is a big time punt play here, but versus a low strikeout pitcher like Leak who serves up homers, I may take a shot here. You know, Chris Davis has power. It's just if he can make contact, and that's the problem because he's most likely not going to make contact. But if he does, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we get a cheap home run, maybe a cheap double. So he is interesting. And then at second base, Ruben Odor, 4K. Like I said, the Rangers are implied over 6 runs tonight in an awesome matchup versus Reynaldo Lopez in the Texas Heat. So I'm going to load him up. And Whit Merrifield, 5,100, always in play versus lefties with his power and speed combo. And Joe Panic of 3,400, just cheap and should be leading off versus Clark. And as I said earlier, I do like the Giants. And then third base as Drupal Cabrera, 4,100. Just more power versus he has more power versus righties, and he's an affordable Ranger, so don't mind him at all. And Yoan Moncada, 5K. I just want as much offense from this game as possible from both sides of the plate. I do like Yoan versus righties much more than lefties. And then Travis Shaw, 2,900. I don't like picking on Sonny Gray at all. But I do like the park for the Brewers. They just hit very well at home, and he's not dirty cheap. He's dirt cheap. Although it does feel dirty rostering Travis Shaw, I will say that. So maybe that's a sign not to play him. But I don't mind him at 2,900. He's just really cheap. And then at shortstop, Jorge Polanco at 4,600. There's another lefty versus Junis. Then Didi Gregorius, 3,800. Lefty versus Peacock. Although I did the shortstops after I did the outfield, so I didn't really talk about why I like lefties versus Peacock, but he gives up a lot of power versus lefties. I know last time out versus Toronto, Tellez got to him, and a couple other guys as well. So I do like lefties versus Peacock, and then Brandon Crawford at 3,100. So every time I seem to mention this guy in the cheat sheet, he seems to have a really good game. So just know I'm like a mark for this guy, and I love him at this price versus Clark. And then in the high range outfield, we have no other than Mike Trout at 5,800. Feels like I'm cheating listing him here, but I do make the rules here, so here we have it. Walker has been getting hit hard by righties, and Trout's one of the best hitters in baseball versus righties, and he's on a heater. So don't mind Mike Trout, obviously. And then Max Kepler at 5K. Love lefty power versus Junis, and you guys all know my love for Kepler. It's warranted, though. He's been amazing. He's been hot, except for tonight he goose-egged, and so did Eddie Rosario. But that does not mean I'm scared to go right back to them. You have to have a short memory in DFS. And then Shin-Soo Choo and Ohtani, they're both the same price. And I didn't want to leave one of these guys off because I love them both because they're both in great spots versus very hittable pitchers and choosing that awesome Texas park. So I think they're both in play. And then in the mid-range outfield, we have David Peralta at 4,400. Always love him versus bad righties. I do think this is a pretty good stackable game. The Giants and the D-backs. Should be a lot of runs scored here against two bad pitchers. And if you look at, casual people are going to look at Justin Marja and see that he has an ERA under 4, but his xFIP is sitting above 5, so he's been getting lucky, and he's allowing a lot of hard contact, so that's going to even out eventually. So I do like these Diamondback lefties or righties, but really just the lefties to get to him today. And then Benintendi at 4,700. Thornton really struggles versus lefties, so I guess I said that wrong, but he's been Thornton's been decent versus righties, so I do prefer the lefties from the Red Sox, and they do have a high implied run total today. Wouldn't be surprised if the righties got into them, but that Blue Jays bullpen's bad as well, so really the whole lineup's in play, but I do prefer Benintendi, and he's the most affordable outfielder as well. And then Eddie Rosario, 4,600. So we get a 400 savings off of Kepler, and really he's pretty much just as good as Kepler, although I do like Kepler more. But if you need the savings, I don't mind Rosario. And then in the value outfield, there wasn't much like dirt cheap guys like stood out to me. Now it's only like 12 a.m., so other guys can get put in the lineup like leading off, and they become good values. But I can only do so much at 12 in the morning. So Nomar Mazara at 4,300. Just love his price, and he should be hitting cleanup versus Lopez, who just lets lefties crush him. And we're in Texas. He's just too cheap, too cheap. And last time he was in Texas batting cleanup against Plutko, he was like 2% owned. So I don't know if that's going to happen again, but if that's going to be his ownership, I'm all about that. And then Aaron Hicks at 3,800. I'd be interested in him even if he was in the 4K range as a lefty versus Peacock. So 3,800 screams some value to me. And then Jordan Luplow, 4,200. So this is a guy a lot of people aren't going to play tomorrow in a tough matchup versus Boyd. Boyd's been good, but Luplow's been one of the best lefty hitters in the league this year. I mean, I don't know if people understand that. I don't even know if people know who Jordan Luplow is, or it might be Luplo, I'm not sure. He's on the Indians, I should know, but I guess I don't watch enough Indians game. I'm always watching the other team's games anyway. But do like Luplow. And then Justin Upton at 4,100. He busted his chalk last night, so his ownership will be down, but it's another good spot for him versus Waka. He goosed you. He struck out a lot, but go right back to the well. Like I said, you have to have a short memory DFS. And then if we go to some of the core plays, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with pitcher yet. Well, I mean, I'm going to have Nola as SP2, but SP1 I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I do really want to go with Bauer, though. Very enticing. And then first base, Brandon Belt at 4K. He hits righties very well. And then Nomar Mazara at 4,300, just a little bit too cheap for me. Like I said on Twitter, I retweet as much weather stuff as I can. So let me put that down there. So on Twitter, I retweet a lot of weather stuff. And then for the top stacks, we have the Rangers, obviously, the D-backs, specifically the lefties, but I guess you could put Adam Jones in there and whatnot. And then the Twins, the White Sox, the Giants, and the Red Sox. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. The UFC video should be out pretty soon. I think I have it. I just gotta upload it. Just waiting on him to send it. I'm not sure if I have it or not. I have to check my email, but that'll be out soon. Like I said, for the Patreon, we have the projections in there, a lot more extra stuff that you're not gonna see in this video. So anyway, like I said, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow. And I'll see you again tomorrow, I guess.